at least 20 immigration judges was fired by the Department of Justice. But before we get into that, we also need to see what's happening on the migrant fronts. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications as rock.
Sheriff, thank you for your time.
Marnie, thanks for having us on this morning.
So is this something that your department volunteered or were you asked to do? How did this partnership come about in this ongoing crackdown?
Since I've been the sheriff just over 4 years now, we've stepped up, of course, and ramped up our partnerships with federal, state, and local government. And we knew as soon as President Trump was elected in office that he was clear and concise on what his priorities were. And this is one of the priorities. And we made those relationships with our federal partners even stronger. So I have 12 deputy sheriffs here that are currently certified under the 287G EOS program. So we're stepping out and getting in front of this. And matter of fact, I got 2 deputy sheriffs, Deputy Carter and Deputy Armentas, working on Interstate 95 interdiction this morning as we speak right now.
Okay, so let's play through a scenario then. If deputies pull over somebody for a traffic violation on one of those highways and they cannot provide valid proof of identification, what then?
Yep. So we take them to the St. Johns County Jail. So if they're driving on the Florida State road or highway, that is illegal in the state of Florida, and you have to have a valid driver's license. So those deputy sheriffs will take that individual to jail for not having a valid DL. They're automatically fingerprints are rolled, their photos are taken, and they're also run through the IAQ program, which is Immigration Alien Query. So we find out if they have a detainer. If they have a detainer, we immediately contact our federal partnerships, which are phenomenal here in St. Johns County, and we hold them until CBP or ICE or EOR come and pick them up.
And if they
Ooh, so this is how it's supposed to work in all of these sanctuary cities like Chicago and New York and Los Angeles and Denver and so on and so forth. So if you are driving, without a driver's license, which you're not supposed to be able to obtain. Now, here's my question, because I'm learning more about immigration and illegal migrants more than I ever have before in my entire life. Before, we was just trying to understand where they was getting in and how they was using TikTok in order to give instructions, and whether or not the Biden administration was just completely ruining life here in the United States of America as we know it. Now, we're starting to understand exactly how deep the rabbit hole goes. So we asking the practical questions and the practical information. Here's some of the practical questions and the practical information. How are people able to remain in this country and not completely just get deported when they can't even obtain a driver's license? How are y'all even able to get jobs? How? So you riding around, you riding dirty, you don't even have a driver's license, and you going up and down the highway and you thought that you was going to escape? Nope. Getting you up out of here, big dog.
they don't have a detainer, they don't have a criminal background, how does that change the process?
Sure. So the process is they're in our system now because just like you and me, Marnie, our system, our fingerprints are in the system, our photos are in the system because we're an American citizen. But now we've at least put them into our system. So if they have a bond available, if the charge allows a bond, they are released upon making bond. If the detainer is not valid and the federal government does not want them on a detainer, we release them.
So how many, do you have a number on how many have been brought in and gone through this process and are currently being held in your county?
Sure. So we do have some that are here on violent crime, just like an American citizen would be. They're held here, of course, until they go through the proper court system. But then some, of course, that actually are entitled to a bond and are not wanted by the federal government or have a civil process detainer by the federal government are released. So the numbers kind of fluctuate. We are doing probably more than the rest of what the state of Florida is doing just because we've been doing it since I've been the sheriff. I believe in the process. So the numbers fluctuate. Like last night, we run 3 IAQs with 1 detainer, and it fluctuates over the weekend depending on what shifts are working or if we're working, some type of collaborative effort with the federal government on CBP with some type of interdiction, we'll have the numbers be even higher.
Okay, and an IAQ, Immigration Alien Query. You heard Tom Homan mention a moment ago this target list. What does that mean?
Yeah, the target list, and Tom Homan, I can't think of a better person for the President of the United States to appoint that gets it, understands it's no nonsense. So that target list, we work again with our federal partners. We meet every Friday at 2 o'clock. We go with this target list. We're actually looking at the red target list, which you can imagine on there is, of course, kidnapping, violent felonies, sexual battery, robbery, homicide, trafficking of humans, trafficking of drugs and narcotics. We focus on that red list, we call it. And our task force, which is made up of 5 men, go out and immediately start attacking that list if you're on that red list, which you have committed a crime and you're wanted and you're an illegal alien.
And how many on that red list have you been able to apprehend?
So we work hand in hand with our brothers and sister, our sheriff in Clay County.
Gary Smith said this is when the black community should take a break. It's not our problem. Are you serious or are you trolling? Are you serious or are you trolling? If the black community actually implemented this same system amongst ourselves and actually worked with our police officers, our fellow police officers in our precincts and our local municipalities, we could actually root out all of the trash black culture that we don't like. If we duplicate the process in our own community, because we all know who the dealers and the killers and the stealers and the robbers are, and we all know who the pedos are, and we all know who the people out here is doing the worst things in our community, if we implemented this same system, we might be able to work with something. I'm just saying, if we implemented this same system in our own communities, we might be able to work with something. How is this not our problem? You want people illegally walking around in your community where your kids are supposed to be playing on a playground? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Let's continue.
County, Michelle Cook, TK Waters in Duval County, Jacksonville. So the list has fluctuated based on which county we're concentrating on, but we're working in Northeast Florida together on this, and we are the tip of the spear here.
What about collateral captures, Sheriff? I know that's a concern in sanctuary cities and elsewhere. Is that something that you've run into in your county, and how are you handling that?
Sure. With the National Crime Information Center and the Florida Crime Information Center, and again, those IAQs and the relationships we share with the federal government, I think that's our key to success. And also to our governor. Our governor, enhanced the laws here in the state of Florida last Thursday. I was at a press conference with Governor DeSantis right after that bill was signed. So I just think we're doing things a little bit different here, and we're not afraid to go above and beyond, because our goal is, if you're a criminal and you're in St. Johns County, your journey is going to end here. We will find you. We will catch you. We'll hold you accountable.
I got you, Connie. I see you. But here's what's happening over in the immigration judges that are being fired. Check this out. I thought that this was pretty interesting.
Meanwhile, part of the sweeping government cuts includes the Justice Department, which just fired 20 immigration judges. This comes as immigration courts deal with a reported backlog of about 4 million cases. I want to bring in CBS News immigration and politics reporter Camila Montoya Galvez. All right.
Shout out to
Camila, break down
Galvez.
what is happening. This is some news that's just coming into us, and what this means for the recently fired hundreds of Department of Immigration employees.
Talk to him, Lauren.
Yes, Vlad, to level set, the Department of Homeland Security over the weekend fired more than 400 employees, many of them at non-immigration related agencies such as the cybersecurity branch at DHS and FEMA, which of course, as you know, Vlad, oversees disaster response. But 50 of the cuts affected employees at U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. That is the federal agency that administers and oversees the legal immigration system. And these employees, Vlad, adjudicate applications for asylum, U.S. citizenship, green cards, or permanent residency here in the U.S., work permits, and other immigration benefits. Again, legal immigration benefits. Importantly, the 2 DHS agencies overseeing President Trump's dramatic crackdown on illegal immigration, Customs and Border Protection, and U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, have been spared so far in these mass firings. We'll see if that changes, but that obviously...
Oh, no wonder everybody want to work for these agencies, because those are the ones that we truly need, because those are the ones that's doing the work. So those are the agencies that are spared from the mass firings. We need ICE. We need Department of Homeland Security. We need Border Patrol. We need these agencies that's actually adding value into our lives. So those are the ones that's going to be spared. See, if you're the person that's out here chasing down the people that we need deported, then you're going to have a job. Otherwise...
signals that these agencies are really important for the president's immigration plans, mainly that mass deportation operation. Of course, we should know that more than a dozen immigration judges at the Justice Department have also been filed, despite the fact, as you noted, Vlad, that 4 million pending cases right now are being over.
Is that a tattoo on his head? Why is this? I'm trying to understand how his hair is, but anyways, let's continue.
Seen by the immigration court. So these more than a dozen judges have been fired, and there is still a mounting case backlog of millions of people who are waiting to get a decision on their asylum requests or other ways to stop their deportation.
And what are we learning about those migrant detentions at Guantanamo Bay? That's another controversial decision made by this administration.
That's right. A couple weeks ago, Vlad, as you know, President Trump ordered officials to dramatically expand migrant holding capacity at Guantanamo Bay, the naval base there. And so far, we understand, according to U.S. officials, that the Trump administration has sent a dozen military aircraft to Cuba, to that base, to send 150 migrant detainees, all men from Venezuela. We understand that despite what the administration has been saying about many of these migrant detainees being the worst of the worst and gang members and other serious criminals, that some of the detainees being transferred to Cuba, Vlad, are nonviolent, low-risk detainees. What does that mean? Well, these are migrants who are in the country illegally, Vlad, but they lack any serious criminal record or any at all and are just waiting deportation to Venezuela, which, as you know, right now is not accepting U.S. deportation. So it remains very much unclear how long these detainees will remain in Cuba.
That's interesting. I didn't know that Venezuela was trying to push back. I'll have to do some more research on that. But 20 immigration judges was fired by the Department of Justice. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications.